producing West Side Story by Bernstein and Schwartz, Lawrence, and Jerome Robbins.
The name of our play is The Seafarer by Connor McPherson.
So Biloxi Blues is the show coming up,
right?
And Neil Simon.
That's correct.
Comedy.
I think one of my favorite things was The Biggest Surprise. I direct a lot of musicals for Charleston Stage, but as an actor, I was not a musical theater actor. It wasn't my choice of genre, either as a performer, probably due to not enough musical skills, but I just have grown to love them more as a director.
Well, I think, first of all, we love Irish playwrights, and Connor McPherson has an amazing ability just to craft a story, and I think that's what we responded to most inside this play. It was just the sheer joy of the story he tells.
Footlight did something kind of interesting and different this year. They sent out an email to different directors that they wanted to consider for shows this season, and they said, give us a list of 2 or 3 plays that you would be interested in directing that we haven't done before. I only sent in Biloxi Blues.
That music, you just can't resist it. It's just a gorgeous score, and whether it's the orchestra or Wendell playing the piano quietly at rehearsal, it was really moving.
You sit down, you play cards with the devil. It's fascinating. I'd want to go see that. So.
For a general appeal show for Charleston audiences and the tourists that come in and all, that you can't go wrong with Neil Simon.
A show with this level of dance has Sundays and Saturdays are like 10 to 5. It's it takes a lot of extra time to get all that dance coordinated in, plus separate orchestra rehearsals, and then we bring it all together. We had about a week on the Satilli stage before we open.
Well, we're in a new space, so I think a lot of that...
Lance Hall.
At the Circular Congregational Church, and they've been wonderful to invite us in there and allow us to kind of inhabit that space in almost a total way for the time that we have this play running there. I think that trying to get used to producing in a space that is you're unfamiliar with, or not as familiar with, is always a huge challenge.
Well, as you know, the show revolves around 6 recruits going into the Army and them dealing with their sergeant, and I'm thinking, okay, why did I select this? Because now I've got to find 6 young men in July that are willing to give up 3 hours a night, 5 nights a week in the middle of summer, and I'm going, I must have a screw loose or something like that.
One of them is just the sheer size of the show. Because of the size of the Satilli, our set design is a giant urban playground. So I have 8-foot fences and platforms and giant sewer pipes to crawl through and all this stuff, but our rehearsal studio is not that size at all.
So some of our technical challenges that we faced here were just a result of a learning curve of being in a new space. It's Irish. The play itself is Irish. Trying to understand some of the colloquial thoughts and even the words, and just having to go back into all of that research and then kind of put it with an Irish dialect.
From our first year there, actually we learned a lot, and we try to pick pieces to fill that space. That's part of it. It's just so large. So it's why things like West Side Story are there.
The positive surprise is again how quickly Pure turns as an ensemble of actors, which I think is really a tribute to the cast and just to the artistry that we're trying to foster inside the company. Is when something doesn't work, how malleable we still remain as a company. And we're talking about big things like the lighting is not working and this looks really horrible, and oh, by the way, your couch is exactly 4 feet shorter than we blocked it.
And they're just a couple years apart in age, but they're both beautiful singers. And I think what happened first really was that they sang together. And even in the first kind of read through, sing through, the voices went. And I think as musicians, that was the first connection.
You know, we work with an ensemble of actors, our core, that we see their work consistently. Watching them surprise me, that's nice. It's really nice to watch them. Ah, yeah, that's great.
there's one scene in the show where the soldiers have to eat SOS, which we won't go into detail with what that stands for, but I'm sure most people can figure that out. But it's basically cream chip beef on toast. And
Right.
so last night at rehearsal, it's the first time we actually had them eat it, and surprisingly enough, they liked it.
Let me ask you a surprise question.
Sure.
Was it your idea or Randy Neal's idea to always have his cane upside down?
It was mine.